Well, hello everyone. Let's get this webinar started. Welcome to today's webinar. So for those of you who have joined us, thank you so much. My name is Susanna and I work here at SoftLink. I see as a marketing researcher and I'll be one of your co-hosts for today's webinar. Joining me for today's webinar also is Jacob, and he's one of our technical support analysts, and I'm sure you've had a chat to him on the help desk. Well, just get you to go back one. Oh no, that's right. Now, before we get started with the main chunk of our webinar today, I just wanted to give you a reminder that we have got all of the release notes for today's webinar in our help guides in Liberty Digital, and you can access them up in the corner here. Now, as you can see, those release notes are loaded and ready to go in there. So a lot of the content that we're covering today will be in those release notes. And remember, you can access them from the help menu. So what are we covering today? Well, today we are making a recap on some of the fantastic features and enhancements in our recent releases over the last 6 months or so. And they include Liberty Digital, OPAC and circulation updates, management, reporting and integration features and improvements, some great improvements to emails and borrowers, and some improvements we've made to our interest alerts. But before we kick off with today's webinar, I want to just do a quick recap on Liberty Digital. Jacob will be running through some of the fantastic features that we delivered as part of this release. Now, what we're going to cover today includes the digital dashboard, SharePoint integration. Now, remember, if you need any help with these features, feel free to get in touch with the team. We will be more than happy to help. Now, our Liberty Digital release also had some great AI-based features, all of which are optional, so you can customize to have those features enabled or disabled. And remember, get in touch if we can help. Now, they include AI cataloging, document submissions by our users, and we have a great new feature that lets you showcase your digital collections. So, without any further ado, let me hand it over to Jacob and let's take a look.
Like our file access categories, copyright, current users, and a few other useful digital options there as well. Then up next, we have our statistics. So we've got things for our monthly views downloads. Now you are able to expand this option a bit further just by clicking on the drop down here. And this gives you things like your interest emails, clicks, which can be really useful. And you can always expand that by further days and even view things like your recently cataloged digital resources. Each of these individual boxes can be expanded to further date periods as well. So if we wanted to see our most viewed or downloaded resources over a year, we're able to see that there. And hovering over each of these options shows the specific number. Awesome. All right, scrolling down a little bit more here, we have our digital resources as the last option for our digital dashboard, which has a quick overview of how many resources belong to those digital bib types. Perfect. All right, so if you want to enable the digital dashboard for all of your library users as the default dashboard, we're able to do that directly from management parameters. And we're just going to go over to 1159. We'll edit that parameter group and scroll right down. And we can see staff landing page. So by default, this may be standard, which brings you to your regular overview page. But we now have the option for Liberty Digital, which brings you straight to that digital dashboard the moment you log into your system. We'll save that one now, and that change has been applied. Awesome. So the next feature that we're going to take a look at is AI cataloging. So just a quick brief mention that AI cataloging is disabled by default for everyone's systems, but you are able to enable it just by jumping to parameter 8600. Now, scrolling down, we have the option here for Enable OpenAI. If we change that one to yes, it does give us an AI policy as well. So we have a quick link to our AI policy, so you're able to read through that before you enable and fully take use of these AI features. The only other parameter that we have here for sort of working with the AI features is use existing subjects only. So when cataloging using the AI features, if this one is set to yes, it's only going to suggest subjects that are currently in your system. So we can leave those two as yes and click on save. And just like that, all of the AI features within Liberty have been enabled. So the first one that we're going to show off is our AI cataloging feature. Now to use this one, we're just going to jump to the digital dashboard and go to AI resource cataloging. Click on the box to upload a file, and I'll choose this one that I had prepared earlier. Now, like with all of your other files as well, you are able to choose a file category. We can change this one as needed, but we'll leave it as general for now. We can then click on upload and finish. Next, we just choose the bibtype. I'll just leave this one as an online document and click on add. Now, from this point, the AI has been passed to this PDF file, and it's going to read through any of the machine readable text in the file and provide suggestions for things like title, author, publisher, and a notes field. So we can see here that the title's automatically been filled in based on that PDF file. We also have an author suggestion for Kitty Bennett, and all we need to do to add this to the resource is just to click and then click on add. We also have things like our publisher, notes, and subjects, which all get suggestions as well, based on the contents of that file. Now, like I mentioned before, since we do have that parameter enabled, it is only going to provide us suggestions for subjects that are already in the system. So it's not going to be suggesting us new subjects to add to our authorities. So we can add in cats, for example, and click on the plus. From there, all we have to do is save the resource. And just like that, we've cataloged a resource with those AI cataloging features. How easy. So that's a really good one if you have a big backlog of PDF or Word documents that you're looking to catalog in the system. You don't want to have to fill in all of that information yourself. The AI cataloging tool can be a really useful resource to try and help speed up that process. Awesome. And as I mentioned before, and as Susanna also mentioned before, feel free just to get in touch with the support team if you do have any questions about any of these features. The next one that we're going to take a look at, speeding through this digital recap, is the document submissions feature. So we'll go to parameter 2043 here. And what this is going to allow our users to do is actually submit documents to the system directly from the OPAC. So we'll edit this parameter group and go right down to the bottom. Now, from here, 2043 is our base sort of parameter and has three different options, either for the parameter to be disabled, require approval, or automatically approve. We're going to leave this as require approval. What this is going to do is create an interim resource when a user submits a document, and the library staff can then approve that from the back end. We can also select a default user submitted bibtype. We'll leave this as online document. And then we can also choose what users can submit as bibtypes. So if we want our users to upload online documents or online videos, we can select both of those bibtypes there. And now the final one that's very good for stopping your users from uploading files you may not want them to is parameter 2046. So this one allows for you to change what file types are actually allowed to be uploaded into the system. So by default, we've got docx and PDF, but say we also want our users to upload MP3 files. We could add those in just like that. Cool. We can now scroll all the way back up to the top and click on save, and we can go show off how this feature works now. So I'm going to jump into my OPAC here. And what your users can do is just from the hamburger menu, go to My Portal and then Submissions. From here, this is going to show them all of the resources that they've previously submitted to the system and the status of them. Since we don't have any right now, we'll just click on Upload Resource. Same document upload process as we showed before, but you'll notice that it does have those permitted file types added to the top. We're going to click on the box here, and we'll just upload that same PDF from before. Click on Upload and Next. Now, since we do have our AI features enabled, it will pass this file to the AI and provide suggestions just like it did in our previous feature. So we've got that file, our title's been added in, we have the option of those two different bibliographic types that we set, and we're able to add those author suggestions in, subject suggestions, all of that. So once we're happy with the resource, we can click on Save. And that's going to show us that the resource has been submitted and that it's currently pending. Now, of course, you can set that parameter to automatically approve resources. At this point, the resource would be published to the catalog and all users would be able to find it. But in our case here, we'll just go to Cataloging and Interim. And this is going to show us all of our interim resources, obviously, but it will also include our resources that have been submitted via the document submission feature. So we can see that PDF file that we've uploaded here. So of course, your library staff now can edit this record as they wish, just by clicking on Edit. And that's going to allow them to add any additional information or remove things that might not be relevant. Cool. If they're happy with that, just click on Publish to Catalog. Otherwise, you can delete it if you'd like to just remove the interim resource entirely. So we'll go Publish to Catalog and OK. And that resource is now published to the system. All of our users are going to be able to access it from this point. Cool. That's a great one. The next one that we're going to take a look at is our new Digital Collections Authority Control. So to access it, we're just going to go to Cataloging, Authority Control, and then from the top right drop-down, Open Digital Collections. So just like your other authority controls, like your lists and your authors and subjects, things like that, digital collections are going to be handled very similarly. So we've got 3 digital collections here, and we're able to view those just by clicking on them. They contain a name, image, and when it was entered. So we can create a new one by clicking on the new button up here, and we'll create one maybe. So we'll create one for our digital theses and click on Add. We're able to then set an expiry date, an image, add in scope notes, and even choose whether this digital collection has a parent or a child. So we'll choose the existing theses one as the parent and click on Save. So just like other authorities, you're able to add these to your resources either one by one or by accessing the Manage Authorities, which I'm going to show off now. So we'll go over the cataloging resources and search for everything that belongs to online document, just as an example here, and click on Search. Now from here, we're able to go into our top right drop-down and go Manage Authorities and select Digital Collection. So using this feature, you're able to bulk add a digital collection to all of the resources in this search. And this doesn't only work for the digital collection, it also works for your author, subject, series, all of those as well. But now we'll just add it to our digital theses that we created and click on Save. So that's then added all of those resources to that collection. Awesome. So now for our users to access these digital collections, we can just go to the OPAC and we have a dedicated digital collection search. This shows us those 3 main ones, but also has the option to expand our parent digital collections to show children as well. So using this, users can click on the ones that they would like to search over and then perform a search. Otherwise, we also have the option of browsing as well. So if we wanted to browse all of the resources belonging to the Digital Theses digital collection, we can just click on that link there, and it brings us a list of all of those resources. Awesome. Another way that users can also browse your digital collections is from the hamburger menu, other searches, and digital collections. This gives us a list of all of those digital collections, and again, along with their parent and child hierarchies. Perfect. Now, the very last feature that we're going to look at for the Liberty Digital Recap is the SharePoint integration. So to set this one up, we'll go to Management Parameters and go to parameter 8500. So what the SharePoint integration allows is for your resources that are held within your SharePoint catalog to be brought into Liberty automatically overnight during the housekeeping process. So there's a little bit of setup, mostly required from your IT team or whoever manages your SharePoint site. All we'll need is the tenant ID, application ID, and client secret. All of these go into a box in these 3 parameters. And once those are entered correctly, you'll have the option to select any of your SharePoint sites that belong to these 3 specific credentials. We also have the option of setting up embedded previews. So if you want your PDF files to be embedded and viewable directly within Liberty without needing to go to SharePoint, we can turn that on, and that will allow that. We also have the option for SharePoint site URLs here as well. So if you would like to only pull resources from a specific SharePoint site, we're able to do that as well through that setup. Awesome. Now that one will require, again, some help from your IT team. Get in touch with the support team if you are having any issues setting up the SharePoint integration, and we'd be happy to walk you through it. Perfect. Well, with all of those Liberty Digital Recap features, we're going to move on now to the OPAC. So again, there are quite a lot of really cool improvements to the OPAC that make it a lot easier for your users to search. So first one that I'm going to show off is the new and improved faceted searching. So I'll just do a quick search under basic for law. And this brings back a nice list of 344 results. Now, the faceted search used to be available from the right-hand side of the screen as a pop-out, but we've pinned it now to the left side and have added a bunch of new features there for you. So the first one that's really cool is the availability filter. So you can choose whether you'd like to view resources that are only available on the shelf or available online. This gives you the option of selecting, of course, if there is a resource that's available as an ebook and a physical print, but you'd only like to see the ebook versions, we can tick on available online and click on search. So that's brought down our list of resources quite a bit there. Cool. From our refined by search as well here, we have things like our digital collections, our branch sorting, and one of my favorites is the website domain. So this allows for you to filter resources by the website that they're available on. So we can click on View All here, and this shows us a list of all of those resources. So if I only wanted to find resources that were available on Overdrive, I can tick that box, click on Apply, and filter. And now the resources in this list here are only ones that are available through Overdrive. Cool. Now, the faceted search is completely customizable through page layout editing as well. So that's a really useful feature. Cool. Now, the next one is something for staff members in the OPAC as well. And that is the option to view resources in the management section directly from your OPAC. So oftentimes you might be looking at the resources in your OPAC, and they might be something that you've noticed and you'd like to change it in the backend. Now, instead of having to then navigate to your backend, search for the book and edit it, there's a nice handy link here for admins to view in management, and that brings you directly to the resource page in the backend. So we can then go through, edit the resource, do any changes that we need to make. Cool. That's a nice and quick and easy one for your library staff users. The next one is an improvement to our federated search, and that is bringing our alternate providers, which used to be a separate search, into our federated search. So we just jump back to our OPAC homepage here. And instead of the basic search, we're going to go to federated search. We have the option for all of our external databases, but also our alternate providers. I'm just going to clear all and tick alternate providers. And let's just do a search for federal law and click on search. Now, unlike your regular federated search source connectors, alternate providers are ones that are unable to be linked. Either there's not an API or we haven't been able to create a connector, in which case we can add it to the alternate provider. And if we click on, say, Google Scholar, it's going to automatically perform that search in that external source. So this is really great if you have resources or external subscriptions that you'd like for your users to be using from Liberty, but don't have those search source connectors. Awesome. The next one that we're going to take a look at is the option to add bibtype filters to your basic search. So for this one, there's a parameter that we're going to edit again from management parameters. And we're just going to go to parameter 4305. Click on edit for that group. Oops, too far. And we've got this new parameter called OPAC bibtype filter mode. So this one is disabled currently, but we have two different options for it, either automatic or manual. If we set it to automatic, Liberty is going to find the most used bibtypes in your system and put the most used one first. So we'll check that out to start with. So just click on save and reload our homepage. And now from our basic search, you can see here that we have all of our different bibtypes available. So if our users only wanted to search over our serials and ebooks, they're able to do so just by ticking both of those and then performing their search like normal. So it's a good way to add some more sort of customizability for searching from the basic search. Now we have manual as well. And when set to manual, instead of using the most used bibtypes first, it's going to follow our little list here that we have specified in parameter 4306. So we're able to add in bibtypes as needed, and it's going to then follow that list. Now, other than bibtypes, you are also able to use custom searches as well. So if we change 4307 to custom searches and click on save and go back to our OPAC, you can see here that those two custom searches that we have in the system are now available. So this can be really useful, again, if you're looking to point your users towards specific collections of resources, specific types of resources. All of that can be done with the custom search filters. Cool. All right, so that's the bibtype search. We're on to the last one for the OPAC now, and that is the ability to create what we call external interests. So all we have to do for this is go to circulation interests, and we're just going to take a look at our interests to start with and create a new one. Now, you'll have to add this field via page layout editing. If you're not sure how to do that, feel free to let us know and we'd be happy to help you further. But for this one, we've added a new type to the interests, and you can choose either Liberty, which is your standard sort of interest type for resources that are added to the catalog, or you can choose external. Now, this is going to be for interests that are external to Liberty. So if you have subscriptions for a service that you'd like for your users to be able to access and subscribe to themselves, you can set up an external interest. And when users subscribe themselves to this interest from the OPAC, it will send an email to any email addresses found in this external email section. So you might put the library manager who manages access to these subscriptions. They'll receive a notification when a user has subscribed themselves to this interest, so that they can subscribe that user through the external platform. So that's a great way just to track within Liberty who is subscribed to some of those external suppliers that you might have. Perfect. Now, sorry, the last one that we do have for the OPAC now is probably one of my favorite features, and that's the ability to create detailed book sliders. So currently we have our new to the library book slider. It's got some nice images with all of our new books, but there's a way that you can actually make it look more detailed and add a bit more information. And the way that we're going to do that is just by going to System, Pages, and then Search in the top left. And what we're going to want to look for is page name, and we're going to want to enter custom info slider. So that'll automatically add in the search to your AnyWords there, and we can click on search. This returns just the one result, which we can use to add additional information. So for this one, as an example, I'll add in the title, the abstract, and the publication date, as well as button, and you'll see what that means in just a moment. We also have the option of adding any of your user text fields as well. We then click on save, and you'll notice when we refresh our homepage, our new to the library info box has a lot more information about the resource. The abstract is automatically limited to 200 letters, and you can see just how cool that looks. So of course, any of your resources that don't have additional information will still show whatever you've added to the catalog. Now, this can be really useful if you do have resources that have a URL as well, because it will allow you not only to view the resource, but have a button that goes directly to that URL. So we can still click on our beautiful image there to go to the resource, or we can click on view this resource, and it brings us straight to that resource detail page. Cool. All right.
Wow. Well, that is probably one of my favorite features. And I'm so glad Jacob remembered to show it, because I was getting a bit worried. He was saying, oh, I'm almost done. And I'm like, you're not done. The book slider. So as you can see from that quick little roundup, searching the catalogue has just got a whole lot easier for our borrowers and our customers. We've got better filtering options. We've got the alternate search providers in federated search. And as I mentioned, those book sliders, oh, chef's kiss. That's going to make finding resources faster, easier, and way less frustrating. But let's keep going, because we have got plenty more to show you. Jacob, can you show us some of the new features and improvements that we have made to circulation and management modules, and then a really nice update to our email templates?
Absolutely. All right. So the first one that we're going to take a look at for circulation is a lending rule option. So we're going to go to circulation lending rules. There. So one of the things that we've added here is a renewable window for your overdue items. So do you have users that will take a book out for loan and then just renew it automatically and extend it for as long as they can? Well, now we have the option to restrict your users so that they can't renew the item until a certain period. So for example, we've got our staff general category here that I'm going to be playing around with a bit today. And currently we've got this set to 30 days with unlimited renewals. For this one, we might just set it as a 1 maximum renewal, and we have the renewable period here. Cool. Now, using our renewable period, we are allowed to choose how many days before that loan is due that renewals become allowed. So, for example, if we set this to 5, and click on Save. When that book has been on loan for 25 days, these users are then able to renew those items. Not any earlier, not until that 5 days has been hit. Perfect. So again, like I mentioned, really good one if you are looking to restrict your users from making renewals the moment they loan books out. The next one is a bit more of a management feature. And if we go to our cataloging resources, and let's perform a search just for law again. Now this gives us 329 resources. Now this new feature is something that was previously a keyboard shortcut. So you might have already been using this already, and that is the TO shortcut. So TO brings up a little page that allows you to go to a certain result number in a list of resources. But as part of our new update, we have added this little down arrow here next to your navigation buttons, and that allows you to go to a specific result. So if I've got this large list of books and I want to go somewhere in the middle, maybe it's a result 160, I can click on Go. Sorry. And that's going to bring us directly to number 160 within that list. This can be really useful as well if you're looking through lists of emails, lists of borrowers, things like that, and you do want to skip through to a certain page or a certain number. Again, just a great feature there. Cool. The next one that we'll take a look at is emailing. So we all use our beautiful email templates that are available under System, Email Templates. And we've now added the option to add a QR code, not just for your Liberty website, but also for LibertyLink. So if you haven't created an email template before, you can just go to System, Email Templates, and click on New, and go through and enter things like a name for a template, email subject, enable, and then the template. I'll open up one of my pre-existing ones and edit it. So we have a bit of a template set up here for introducing our library users to our Liberty app. So we've got some text in here, and you'll notice these fields then have a % sign on either side. These ones are templates that are sort of used to enter in default information about the user that the email is being sent out to. So these are automatically filled in based on the user's details. Now what we've added to these is a QR code for the LibertyLink setup and a QR code for the OPAC. So you can enter these in just by clicking on the link, and that adds in automatically like that. Cool. Now, as an example, I have an email that we've sent here to Kitty with that QR code to the LibertyLink app. So that's really useful. Users are able to scan that QR code directly from their phones without even leaving their emails to access their library site. Cool, back to you, Susanna.
Thanks, Jacob. Jacob, I'm back because I want to remind people that we haven't actually forgotten about our borrowers, customers, or patrons. Now, Jacob, I'll give you 1 minute to catch your breath, not even that actually, like 30 seconds, because next up, I want you to have a look at some of the enhancements that we have made in that area. So share with us some of the changes we have made to borrowers and reporting, and I'll be waiting here watching in the background.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Susanna. So the first one that we're going to be looking at is a bit of a change to how borrowers are created in your system. So, of course, borrowers have always had the option to register themselves through the OPAC, but we've added a self-registration option that allows your users to be automatically approved if they match certain criteria. Now, to set this one up, we're just going to go to Management Parameters, and we're going to go to parameter 3340. We'll edit that grouping here and scroll right down. And this one is automatically set to no, but if we change it to yes, and then save that grouping, it's going to add in some additional options for customization. So this adds in another 7 parameters that we can use to change up this feature a little bit. So through this feature, the way that we've got it set up now with no additional customizations, every user that creates an account through the OPAC by registering will be automatically allowed to log into the system. There's no need for library staff to verify them. But we can use some additional options here. So for example, require email verification. You'll have used this one if you've signed up to other websites online. When a borrower registers through the OPAC, it's going to send them an email. They'll just click on the link and that will verify their account and allow them to log in from that point. We also have the option to set up a new template for that email as well. So if you wanted to change up the wording or change up any of the links, things like that, you're able to do so with that template. We also have a automatic approval email domain restriction. So for example, if I enter softlink.com, any user that registers for the through the OPAC with the domain at softlinkint.com as their email domain, they'll be automatically registered. So that way, anyone that registers and doesn't have a SoftLinkInt email will be required to be approved by library staff. Perfect. And the last few here are related to things like your default loan categories, user roles, and borrower types. Now, this is separate from your users that are manually approved. So if we want all of our automatically approved users to become members as their user role, we are able to set that up like that. Now, of course, since these borrowers are automatically generated, an alias must be generated for them as well. And we can use either system generated, where Liberty will just create an alias for them based on a numbering scheme, or we can set up the email address. So whatever the user's email address is set as, it's going to use as their alias as well. Cool. And save. Easy as that. So again, something that you can turn on to reduce the workload of your library staff, especially if you are just registering anyone that has an email belonging to your sort of organization. Cool. The next one is we're going to take a look at reporting. Now, 3 new fields have been added to resource records, and they are sort of allowing you to report on the size of files within the system. So I'll go to Cataloging Resources, and I'm just going to do a search for all of our online documents and click on Search. And this returns all of our online documents. So this feature in particular is really great if you are looking at finding resources that are sort of taking up a lot of your storage. So once we've got a list of these records, we can click on Generate Report and create a new custom report. So I'll call this one File Sizes. And we're going to add in the title to start with. And then our 3 new fields are computed file size, total attachment size, and total file size, that one there. So these 3 fields are going to show different values depending on if you use the file field to upload your file or the attachment field. We'll choose this one to run in Excel as well and click on Save. Like that. And now if we get that report, maybe we want to sort by computed file size descending. And we'll select descending as the other ones as well. Click on Run and Download. So this is going to return all of our resources in that search and sort them in descending order for our computed file sizes. Cool. Now, another cool way that you can use this feature as well is directly from the OPAC without running any reports. So if you are just looking to get the sort of largest files in your system, you can just sort, and I'll sort it by computed file size, descending, and sort. And now we can see this top one is going to be the largest file in our system, so 10.4 megabytes. Awesome. So that can be really useful if you are noticing on the digital dashboard that your storage usage is very high, and you're looking for ways to clean that up a bit. You're able to find the files that are the largest and perhaps compress them or change the file to a different format whatever you'd like to do to try and decrease that storage usage. Perfect. Now, sticking with the reporting themes, we do have a new configurable field that allows for you to track when a borrower was last active. So on the borrower record already, we do have a field for last login, but this one's a lot more customizable. So go to parameters, and we're going to search for 1168. Click on edit, scroll right down, and we have these two new parameters for client last activity update and exclusion strategy. So from here, we're able to add in whatever information we'd like about what counts as a last active event. So if you just want URL clicks and opaque searches to update when a user has last been active, you could add those in. And you're even able to add in a resource exclusion strategy. So if you don't want the last activity to be updated when users are interacting with books that belong to the ebook bibtype, you're able to add that in like that. Go back up and click on save. And that's now going to be available from your borrower records and in reports. So if I go to circulation borrowers and just search for myself, we can see immediately that last activity for 3/27 yesterday. Cool. Now, again, that one is added via page layout editing. Again, if it's not something that you've done before, no worries, just get in touch with the support team and we can help you sort that out. Perfect. And the very last one that we're going to look at for reporting is a new attribute that's been added to copy records, and that's a field called last loaned. So again, another field that's just available for your copy records for reporting. So we can generate report and go new custom report, and we have that last loaned field. So this is a really useful one just for seeing a quick brief example of when your resources were last loaned. Really good for something like a small stock take where you're looking to just see if your resources are actually being used by your members. Perfect. All right, with that, back to you, Susanna.
That is great. Let me just get my camera sorted here. All right, Jacob, I know that you don't mind me jumping in and out here because I just wanted to let everyone know that we are on the home stretch now. So we've got 2 more things to have a look at, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. So we're going to have a look at some integration updates, which I'm in love with, by the way. And we've also made a really cool update to our interest notification. So I'm going to take a back seat until I pop in again for our wrap up. But Jacob, please share those 2 great updates with us.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Susanna. All right, so like Susanna mentioned, the first one that we're going to be taking a look at is a bit of an integration upgrade. And this is one that a lot of people have been asking for quite a while, and that is the option for a search iframe that you can embed in your external websites, your SharePoints, all of that good stuff. So we can view this one directly from System, Opaque Search iframe. And this one brings up a little example of what that search is going to look like. So we can change up the heading if we're looking for maybe just for the Brisbane Library. Apply changes, we can see that immediately up here. We can also add in some text, search the library here. Whoops. And apply changes, and that adds that text in automatically. Now, depending on your website, you may need to do things like change the width and height as well. But once all that's done, we can copy that insertion code and paste it into your external websites. Again, this one is really useful in things like your SharePoint, external websites to point your users towards using your catalog. Awesome. Cool. And the next one that we're looking at is probably one of my favorite in this showcase, and that is the ability to add anchor links to your interest emails. So interest emails can now contain anchor links, and the way that we can add these to our existing interest emails, we're going to go to Circulation Interests, and we're going to look at one of our interest delivery groups and find the report that we're using. So for this daily alerts one, we're using interest notification high volume layout. So remember that. Next up, we'll go to System, Reports, and then from the top right drop down, we're just going to select Open Email Reports. All of our interests one are shown here from 2 to 8. So just select the one that you're currently using. There. And we'll click on Edit. And right down at the bottom of this page now, we have the option for an anchor field. So you will need to use, obviously, an anchor field that is the same as your group by. So we can select interest heading or even interest group, like that, and click on Save. Now, what this anchor is going to let you do, I'll show you now. So we've got a bit of an example interest email here, and you can see that it's automatically added each of our interest topics to the top as clickable links. So clicking on any of those will bring you directly to the interest. Now, this is really great for some of you who are power interest users and might send out interest notifications only once a month or twice a month. So your interest notifications can get quite long. This allows your users to jump to exactly what they want to see without needing to scroll through that giant list. Perfect. How cool is that? Back to you, Susanna, now.
Well, thank you very much, Jacob. Let me just get my camera up and running. All right. Well, as I promised, the next time you would see me, we are going to be doing a wrap up because we are almost done, but stay tuned because we've got some great summary slides. Jacob, could you flick back into that PowerPoint for me? And let's have a look at what we covered today. We covered quite a bit, and that included quite a few parameters. So here's a list of the parameters that we mentioned today. And of course, the great thing is that you can go ahead and pause this if you're watching the recording and note those down. So we did cover quite a bit today. So let's have a quick summary of what that was. We started off, seems like a little while ago now, with a recap of Liberty Digital and some of the fantastic features that we rolled out as part of that. We then had a look around the OPAC, circulation management, and had a look at some of the fantastic features that we've added into those modules. There were some great changes to our emails and email templates. We looked at some nice changes we made for borrowers. And of course, who would have thought our reporting could have become any more amazing? But we managed to do it. We added some great new features in our reporting case. We also looked at integration, adding in that iframe. That's going to be a game changer. And then those anchor links in those interest emails. That is going to be lots of fun to have a go at. Jacob, I think that's a pretty good roundup of the features that we have rolled out over the last little while. What do you think?
Yes, great. Great features.
Excellent, excellent. Well, as you know, you can always find information about our release notes in the help guide, and they are available to you in your system. So feel free to have a look. And of course, you can always get in touch with us if you have any questions. Having said that, here are the contact details if you need to get in touch with the team for some help, whether that's with SharePoint or AI, adding in anchor links, anything you can think of. Please feel free to get in touch. You can scan the QR code to jump straight to our website or use the email address that you see on the screen. Well, Jacob, I think you've earned a coffee because that's it from us today. What do you think? Time for a coffee?
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.